Hello everybody. Yep, I'm adding some detail right now to a drawing. Just want to make sure the camera is oriented properly. There we go. I'm adding some detail to a meditative drawing I did live this morning on TikTok. Hope it worked. And for those of you who are interested in how this part of the process sort of develops, again, it's a lot like the other part of the process. I'm just letting it rip. I just see an area that needs a little bit of me and I put it in there. It's purely instinctive. I'm not thinking about it. A lot of the times I'm just really focusing on the spot and I'm not seeing what else is happening here. But then when I step out and I turn it and I twist it, then I see, you know, where there's more areas that need some loving. I'm working on what turned out to be sort of a slide. There is something going on over here. I thought this was going to be something else, and then it didn't turn out to be that. And so excuse me. Stuffing our spring viruses. Here they are. This is sort of the underside of the brain. I saw sort of developing the brain, which is also a lung. I don't know. I'll point that out right now. Okay, so when I started drawing, as I sort of explained, I always draw a heart first. And it's sort of meant to represent a heart-centered approach to drawing. And what I'm trying to do is shut off my mind, the conscious mind, and go from more instinct or subconscious. And in order to do that, I want to make sure that my heart and my mind are connected, you know, so I do a lot of heart math breathing and I work with meditation and I just really get into feeling a sense of being grounded. And then I start just putting a heart down on the page and then I just let it rip from there. And it comes out in so many different types of drawings. I'm going to flip them over as they come to you so you can kind of see like the variety that can come out. And these are not planned at all. None of them, right? I just start from something and it just progresses into there. And oftentimes it's interesting with the combination of my subconscious and me sort of tapping into what I think is the field, you know, source energy will come up with. And these are just my small ones. If you want to see more of what I'm producing and see what else the studio produces, please go to dawnstyle.ca for the brand new website that is being produced. Otherwise, you can find me at bgtCreative Studio on Instagram. I think that's Instagram, isn't it? Something like that. And Facebook. Let's get back to drawing. So in addition to this slide coming down, falling into sort of this rabbit hole, which then turned out to be kind of this beady little eye, this alien kind of eyeball, kind of big brother stuff, which I found was interesting because it's looking like children would slip into this, right? Which does kind of remind me of, you know, some of the concerns that I have had about protecting our kids in particular. There's a lot of content out there right now that just seems like people think is appropriate for children. And let me tell you, I once left a movie theater because I went to it with my husband to watch Deadpool. I have a bit of a weak stomach myself, but I was definitely enjoying the film until I realized that 3 kids under the age of 10 were with their dad watching Deadpool. And I thought, it was a WTF moment. And I went and complained, actually. And I even went so far as to complain to the Alberta department of our provincial government that deals with how movies get rated and our professional standards that way. And yeah, I got some cockamamie bull crap about free speech. We can have free speech and protect children too. I truly believe that. Yeah, it was very disappointing and really gross to me. So the idea that something nefarious might be down here waiting for them, or that something we can maybe see coming, that would be reassuring. I just don't know, though, if it feels that way, right, to us right now. And I'm not one to panic. Really, I'm not. Things will be what things will be. I see this rainbow flag, though, hitting the slide, and I have to wonder if this message and if subconscious meets source is really about this whole LGBTQ. I'm a proud mom of a bisexual daughter, and I've always tried to support her the best way that I can. I've also taught her, you know, do no harm, be kind, be good to people, and it was really important for me to guide her and give her safe boundaries as she was going through this, you know, exploration in her teens, so that she would be safe. And I don't see that we're giving that to children now. And so I question a lot of what's going on in that space right now. Yeah. I also, as I was doing this, so started off with a lung, and I'm going to spin it around. So this started off with the heart, and then I realized that the heart, if I continued around, it looked like a lung. And so I made the bronchial tubes, or brachy, I'm not sure how you say that in plural. And then as I turned it again, I realized, wait a minute, this is looking like the tree of knowledge, or the tree of life. And then this little being popped up, which to me kind of thought, you know, I've been doing a lot of meditation lately, and a lot of gurus are talking about this pineal gland and its importance to connecting to your intuition and connecting with source energy and that around you. And it can actually give you quite a euphoric experience if you're meditating using that. Quite a transcendental feeling, actually. So the power of that is being explored now in the scientific community. And it's really interesting research. So that kind of showed up, but it also could be like the apple, right? From that tree of knowledge, that idea of innocence. So I can't help but feel like this is being wrapped up with this, right? And there is this juxtaposition of the dark and the light. The brighter that we shine, the darker that the shadow that gets cast. And the harder maybe that we have to work to make sure that we understand what is shadow, and we walk in that light, right? And integrate both of those parts into our personality, and somehow safely integrate them in our society, because that's where we walk, that's where we live, is to help and to try to get everybody to understand that walking in the light, It's much better than being in the dark. But we're experiencing a lot of exposure in the dark right now, aren't we? Woo! Maybe that's what this eyeball is doing too, looking at exposure. I notice that it's kind of looking down, which I kind of find interesting. But if I turn it this way, it's also kind of looking out. And if I turn it this way, this sort of cropped up. So I knew something had to come out of these little bronchial kind of tubes at the top. And I don't know, I knew it needed to be smoke. And then these little lines that I had drawn across here for the bronchial tube, I now realize that it reminded me of these smokestacks I saw with, I think it's coal burning or something. And I'm not a real big conspiracy theorist. I'm kind of a moderate. And it's not that I don't have my opinions, because all you have to do is watch any of my other views to see that I have lots of opinions. I love the earth, and I think we need to take care of the earth. I also think a lot up there right now is bullshit. It's lying. It's fear-mongering. And we really need to check our facts and our science. I'm very much a humanist. And I think the fact that we're on this planet is quite a gift. That anybody who wants to say that humanity is some sort of scourge does not want to have a debate with me. Okay, so then we see smoke coming out. And to me, this is about taking that deep breath in, breathing, understanding, accepting, embracing, breathing in good air, and just letting out the dark, letting out the garbage. Really, it is a meditative practice, isn't it? Just the act of breathing. Breathe in the good stuff, let go of the bad stuff. That, I think, is part of this. And part of it is just the worry, because sometimes with the media these days, we can't tell how much of a problem something really, really is. But the point is, you can't make it your problem in your world. Make your thoughts known about it. Certainly fight for what you believe in. Stand up for your values. That's identity right there, is understanding who you are and what you stand up for. But at the end of the day, know what your battle is. Know which one is yours. Know when to battle, right? And I don't think this life is really meant to be all about struggle, right? In fact, I think it's about trying to be in the light as much as you possibly can, even when things are crappy. And let me tell you, I think I have a master's degree on how to be happy even when things are crappy. So this is part of it. This is part of how I get rid of crappy. And of course, I was trying to figure out what is going on in the background there behind this, and I needed the arc, and the minute I do the arc, I knew it had to be the sun. And you know what? You can't have the sun without a little bit of rain, you know, which kind of brings me into this. It could be a raindrop here too, right? And this could also be evaporation, right? As we come up, making clouds, right? So now it's just me adding in the detail. Cheesy moon. We just had a solar eclipse, right? The moon represents a lot of mystery, unknown. If you're trying to ask a question and say you pull a tarot card, the tarot card's going to say, yeah, no, you're not meant to know yet, right? It's that sort of mystery information. We just had a solar eclipse, and if you're in spiritual communities, you'll understand that for millennia upon millennial, solar eclipses have in many different cultures represented change, transformation, death of one thing and the rebirth of another. And I think we're seeing so much of that kind of change happening in the outer world right now. And really, your outer world is just a reflection of all of our inner worlds. So it's interesting to see what we're all manifesting these days. Now, if you haven't already caught on, there is this time piece, this, come on, what do they call it, everybody? The timepiece, the glass, the sand, you know what I'm talking about. So this is what ended up, and this is what I ended up seeing as sort of sand. And so I'm sort of representing the sands in the hourglass. Now I'm suddenly getting flashbacks to my mother's afternoon programs. I'm watching them with her as a kid. Heck, I have to watch them with her now as an adult. She loves her programs. Anybody know offhand how long The Young and the Restless has been on air? That has got to have been a long time. Like forever, no? This is sort of, it doesn't make sense, you guys. It's my subconscious. It's going onto the page as it is. I'm sorry if you're thinking this is a bit confusing, but guess what? This is art. And if you like it, like I said, this and other pieces will be on the website for purchase if you want to take a look. I also want to do more of these little clips and classes, and in the middle of developing a course. So if you're interested in perhaps doing a course, please message me on Facebook. You can go to bgtCreative Studio. You can go to YouTube as well. But go ahead, message me, and I will let you know when the course is uploaded. And no, I do not inundate anybody with email lists, because honestly, I just don't like it myself. I don't like receiving it, so I don't do it. I literally will do it for a specific reason. Like, hey, John, the course has been posted. If you're interested, go see. And that's the end of that. Now, some of you may be familiar with other forms of meditative drawing, like Zentangles, where Zentangles teaches you to draw with patterns, and in that way sort of disconnect from your conscious mind and get to the subconscious mind. The idea is that you get taught patterns, and that those patterns then become sort of rote, and you don't have to think about it. I prefer keeping my brain awake to see what my brain is saying, and sort of letting go of the judgment piece, letting go of the, I like this, I don't like this, this must become, this has to be. No, I let go of the outcome of this piece entirely from the get-go. I don't know what it's going to be. I don't know that I want to know what it's going to be. It's better when things just pop up as they are. I have in the past done some drawings as gifts for folks who were suffering some pretty hard times, miscarriages or losses of loved ones, and which is basically the same, but I mean like husband. And I also did heart and soul portraits for people. I just sort of drew what my impression of them was, of their person, of their being, and then sort of messages or things would pop out that I didn't intend. For example, I did this one for a friend, a mentor, and I drew a seashell, and I didn't want to draw the seashell, you guys. I had no interest in drawing the seashell. I thought it was kind of trite. It was kind of obvious, but nothing else, I'm telling you, nothing else would fill that space. And so I felt compelled to draw this thing, and I was so glad I did, because when she saw it, she knew exactly why that seashell was theirs. She continued to go and pull out seashells from a collection that she had, and these were really important kind of life, they had life meaning to them, not just that she liked them and thought they were pretty, but they had special messages and sentiment for her. So then I knew, oh, okay, I understand. That's what this has all been about. That was my very first one. So and it was more things like that where symbols and things will show up. And I don't know, there might be something in this that you see today for yourself and go, I really needed that. Like that message was for me. And I don't know it. I just know that I am feeling compelled to do this today. So that's what I'm doing. And, but who knows, you might have seen something about a slide falling into an eyeball. I don't know. I mean, it's not like I can make that up. And that has particular meaning to you. Or you might remember these smokestacks and have a reminiscence or trying to make a decision about where to be, and you see the smokestacks. I don't know. I'm just saying. You got to be open to the process, right? Got to be open. So in Zentangles, it's really all about making patterns. And as much as I love the patterns and doing that stuff, I don't get anywhere near as enjoyment out of this. And I have to say, I have taught this method of meditation to 6-year-olds who love it. And then they get in there and they paint it and they color it up and they're just really excited. And it's more personal than, these doodles on the wall. And not to knock the whole Zentangle thing, because many a times have I thought about becoming a certified Zentangle specialist. But the truth of the matter is I find that this is also very, for me, meditative, but also very spiritual, in that my creativity is an extension of who I am as a person. And I don't just mean as a unique person, but I mean as a human being. We have to create. We are the only creatures that create and then ponder why we did it. What's this for? Which I think gives us a certain level of, shall we say, importance in the universe. Dare I be arrogant enough to say that we might be important and also not that terribly important at the same time in the whole scope of the universe? I mean, each and every one of you is a miracle. Like if you knew what the odds were of your very being brought into being in this world by just the right mix of chromosomes from mommy and daddy, I mean, you should feel like a miracle. There will never be another one of you just like you on the planet, ever. You could come again as the exact same soul to the planet and still not be the same being as a human because of that. That should make you feel infinitely special and important enough to be here. So we have the guardrails, right, with the crosses that just showed up, which makes sense because we need that. And I'm in no way trying to say, what I would call a fundamental Christian person, okay? Because quite frankly, next to Jesus on the couch is a little bit of Buddha, is a little bit of Rumi, and is a little bit of science all wrapped up in there. So, but this is my symbol for protection. And it makes sense to be at the top of a slide. And so then we have a brain in here as all, being spiritual, connecting with not just your mind, but your heart. That lung, let's just take a collective deep breath and remember who we really are, right? Remember the light. Remember to walk in the light. Remember the shadows behind you and keep it there. And you know what? This is a universal thing, and we are not in charge of the timeline. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're just not. So let's release, because a lot of our anxiety, let's face it, centers around looking at a watch or a clock or the time on your phone, right? There's always going to be another sunny day. There's always going to be another sunny day. Thank you for tuning in. Again, you want to see more of this stuff, go ahead, check me out. That's my website. You can see me on TikTok. And I'm looking to increase the followers there at Dawn Style on TikTok so that I can do these live. Thanks so much for showing up. Have a fantastic day.